Welcome back, everyone. Nick and Lex here. Thank you so much for joining me to a new video of Music with Nick. Thank you for being here. Today we got a marathon by MARCELO. Thank you so much, MARCELO, for sponsoring the video, for making the video happen, and for choosing these awesome tracks. We have 5 tracks here of I think I know 2 bands, or maybe just one. One would be Queen, which of course, you know, who doesn't know Queen? But I'm not sure. Avery, let's check him out. But thank you so much, everyone, for being here. You know, for being interested in the video. If this is your first time, consider liking the video, maybe subscribing to the channel, whatever you fancy. Okay. All right. So let's get on with we're gonna check out the titles and then we'll do some reactions. So we're gonna start off with Queen. This is Brighton Rock. This is from the album Sheer Heart Attack. Let's see what year. 74. All right. 74. Then this is the next band. I don't know, it sounds familiar. Avery, from the album Avery. This is Feel the Heart. This is from 79. So I don't know, like I've never seen the logo though. I'm looking at the cover, never seen the logo. Man, they look so 80s. I love it. Third band is Thank You Scientist. Swarm is the song. Terraformer, the album. This is from 2019. I don't know. Thank You Scientist sounds familiar, but maybe just that I've heard of the band but never heard their music. Then Sungazer. This is Threshold. This is the album called Perihelion or Perihelion, I think. 2021. Okay, some new music. That's awesome. Sungazer. All right, and then Leprous. This is from The Flame. This is the album called Malina, like Malina. Malina from 2017. All right, so now definitely only know Queen. I thought I've heard of Avery, but I don't recognize the logo. So let's get into it, you know. So these are the tracks that I'll be doing. Again, thank you for being here. I'll be right back. All right, here we are. So again, thank you so much, MARCELO, for this, for choosing out the songs. Here we go. Let's start it off with one of the most famous and most, you know, amazing bands on the planet, Queen. Let's go. I have heard my fair share of Queen, of course. I did own the best of, but we never gone into like the prog phase. I think we've only done one song of which is from the album Something at the Races, which was amazing. But from this Sheer Heart Attack, I think I've heard the song Sheer Heart Attack. Killer Queen, of course, I've heard. Let's see, Stone Cold Crazy. I did react to that. I reacted to both the original and the Metallica version. And let's see what else is on here. That's it. That's all I know. All right, here we go. Brighton Rock.
Although I must away to my
Just a second. This is insane. I've never heard Queen play so heavy, like dun, 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 dun. Literally sounds like, you know, something out of Metallica, you know, dun, 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 that gallopy Iron Maiden. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they influenced a lot of bands, you know, in the heavy metal genre, even though they were never really like a metal band. They're always like, you know, Queen is just so original. I can't even put a label on them. You know, they're Freddie Mercury, and then, I mean, just everyone in this band is so unique in their approach that I can't really. This sounds like, you know, prog. I think I'm wearing the right T-shirt to this reaction. Honestly, I've never heard, you know, what's his name, Brian May play like this, the guitar. Like, so I mean, obviously what I've always loved about Brian May is that he's so clean. He plays whistle clean. I love it. Even when he plays fast, there's, you know, precision and there's dedication. I love that. But I've never heard licks like this coming out of his guitar. That's like, I guess, you know, the thing with best ofs, you know, maybe they're the most successful radio tunes, but not the best music, you know. So yeah, I'm super happy I'm listening to this. Really, really cool. Let's keep going. Holy moly, that was amazing. Literally that and I know, you know, I do this a lot because when I hear a new song of a band, then it's my favorite song, you know. But honestly, I mean, I've heard a lot of Queen, you know. I've heard maybe, you know, I remember when Alexia and we were like freaking obsessed with Radio Gaga, you know. So your Radio Gaga has nothing to do with all the stuff behind me, you know. It's just like a cool song that you sing along and you clap, and of course Bohemian Rhapsody and that solo, and you know, there's and another one bites the dust. Like that's the first bass riff that you learn when you're holding a bass, basically. But this, I think, must have been the best Queen song I've heard so far. No, maybe not the best song, but you know, Freddie Mercury was great on here, but obviously he wasn't giving. I mean, he always was giving his 100%, but you couldn't really appreciate what Freddie Mercury can do. I think this song was, you can really appreciate what Brian May can do. Like he owned the song. He had a great solo. He was using a slapback echo, you know, which is a full repetition of, you know, a number of notes that you choose, and they just repeat, and they loop, you know, like one time, and then you play maybe 6 notes more and they loop. That's a really cool delay effect that I use myself. Just awesome, everything about it. Like literally, I for a second I was like, sounds like Rush, you know, which is, I think that's a fair comparison. Both bands are super unique and super loved, you know, by their respective fans. Okay, let's move on with let's play some Avery. This is Feel the Heart. Let's see if we, you know, if we keep this up with the progginess. Maybe. Holy moly, I mean, these guys are amazing. They have like this vibe of like the band that played the Rocky theme, you know. I mean, just by looking at them, and I love this new feature by Spotify, they show you like the band cover like super big. They look like, at a first glance, they look like a band like Europe, or like White Snake, or White Lion, or Poison, but they don't sound like that at all. They sound more like completely prog. Funnily enough, if I had just reacted to Queen, I would say they have a little bit of Queen in them, you know, that boom, 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 boom. At the beginning, though, they sounded kind of like a little bit like Deep Purple-ish, like that key, you know, that organ. And that that little interlude there was really cool. A little bit of Kansas. Like I can't even figure out what am I listening to. I love the theatrics, you know, like the you know, the opera. I think this is a great band. Like I love stuff like this. I'm very open to new stuff, and when I hear something new and good, like I can't, you know, I have to give them credit for it, you know, for being original. and for being good. And so far, this is really good stuff. So let's go back a little bit and let's keep going. This is really also very interesting, and it's from 79. So here you go. This was really good. This was like totally different. So I did look him up, and boom, what comes up? PROG Archives, one of the best, I think. You know, if you're on there, you're good. You know, I mean, and you're considered progressive, or psychedelic, or you know, you're in that style of art, rock. You know, so it says Avery. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Avery of Aviary. I think it's Avery. Yeah. We're often described as the greatest punk rock band of the 70s. Grandiose, pompous, and bombastic. The unique songwriting talent of Brad Love and the musical skills he and his four fellow band members bring to this album make it all, some 20 years later, a very special piece of music. Wow. Let's see how many albums they made. Is it just this one? Oh no, there is more. So there's 4 or 3. Let's see. Wow. Well, I loved it, man. This was really freaking good. And nobody has ever requested this before, so that's kind of special. So thank you, Marcelo, for, you know, putting a band on the channel that nobody has ever talked about. Or maybe, you know, I don't read all the comments. It's just impossible. You know, we get hundreds a day, thousands, like literally a week. It's insane. Like I can't keep up. But this was awesome. Definitely gonna take another listen to them, and I'm happy that they're on Spotify. And all CDs are on Spotify. Yes. Okay. Cool. Okay. So yeah, a new rabbit hole. So next song, "Thank You Scientist" is the band. "Swarm" is the song. Let's go. This is a bit newer. This is 2019. So let's see. I'm sure it's PROG. I mean, we're already, you know, we already started here. So let's go. Boom. Okay, this is yeah, absolutely progressive rock. This is more like, I think, like what they call math metal. They are, of course, also on the prog archives. This is more intense, you know. This is, you have to get used to this kind of stuff. This is the stuff that I started listening to way early. But I started with, you know, Spastic Ink and Watchtower, and worked my way into like Spiral Architect. And so I'm familiar with a little bit of Fate's Warning. Again, kudos to Tony for sending us like literally the entire collection. Thank you so much. But I haven't been able to, you know, get into it. But it stems, this music stems up from like, you know, extreme progressive metal. Like even I would dare say like more intense than like Dream Theater or Symphony X. Just the changes here like are ridiculous, you know, the timing, and it's very technical. It's very, so that's why they call it like math metal, because it is so technical. So it takes a bit of getting used to. I'm totally used to this type of music. I pulled up some bands that are in the vein of this. So Arc Echo, we saw Arc Echo live the night we saw Haken. Haken is also on here. But there's all the other bands I'm not, you know, familiar with. I think I've heard of Caligula's Horse, but I was looking for a different band here. I think they're called what are they called? Cambre K. Oh, I don't remember. But the thing about, the only thing that kind of like that I would have to get used to in this band is the singer. The singer just sounds too like clean to me. Like it sounds a little bit like he is like, oh man, I don't know. It is like it is like when you listen to Dream Theater, you have to get used to James Labrie. You're like in shock. It's like, whoa, you know, like, and then you kind of like get into the you understand why he's there, and his function in the band. And right now, since this is my first time listening to Thank You Scientist, I'm a little bit thrown off by the voice. I'm not saying it's a bad voice, or I'm not saying it's he's not a great singer. It's just like that I didn't expect with music that's so aggressive to have such a light voice, you know. So, but other than that, holy moly, man, very good. This is right up my alley. This is the stuff I listen to, you know. You know, just check out Ronjar Zombek, and that tells you all. He's basically the grandfather of this whole style, you know, when he came up with Watchtower. So let's keep going.
I'll stay here. Where do I belong? Where do I belong? So I'll stay here. Where do I belong? Where do I belong? So
Okay, they cut out there. No, I do have to give credit where credit is due. Like the horn section, I've never heard anything like this. And all the other bands that I mentioned, that is pretty original. To give this sense of like, and it was not just horns like in a jazzy way, it was horns almost like in a, you know, it gave me vibes of almost like flamenco, but not in the flamenco style. It's just like, it sounded like somewhere in, you know, somewhere in Spain or somewhere in another region of the world. The trumpets gave this, and I love that they were like playing these arpeggios, and the trumpets like filling in the arpeggio and taking over a couple of notes. That was crazy. Literally, that's how I felt the night when we were watching Arch Echo. It was just like, and then all this tapping and really, really complex guitar playing. Especially there was one keyboardist who was just like killing it, you know. And then the guitar player, and these two were like just like, you know, doing all these like super weird scales and arpeggios and like all this tapping and stuff. And there was one rhythm guitar player, but he was some kind of like very low. He was on a 7-string guitar, so it had like this, and then the bass player and the drummer was excellent. No vocals, but they remind me a lot of Arch Echo, Arch or Arc. But yeah, really cool. Thank you, scientist. It's just the voice. The voice, it's just the thing that I would have to get used to, but I've said this before hundreds of times when I started listening to any band. Like when I switched from Metallica and Megadeth, I was like, okay, Dave, you know, and now I can't even imagine Megadeth without Dave Mustaine's voice, you know. It's always been him, but just in contrast to James Hetfield, it was so different. Or when I heard Iron Maiden for the first time with Paul Di'Anno, and then the Bruce, I switched to Bruce's material, and I was like, whoa, that's kind of weird. So it's just that first time when you hear a voice, you have to get used to them. But I think he's a great vocalist, and he fits in right where he belongs, you know. Okay, so another new band. This is called Sungazer. Let's see. Okay, they do have like a bunch of albums. This is from 2021. So hey, you know, there's hope for new music. Let's give it up for them. Threshold. Holy shit. Okay, now I can curse because we're 30 minutes into the video. That was insane. That was not like, I did not expect this was different, different. It was prog, but it was more out there with, it was more jazzier. This is, I guess, I don't know what style of music this is. I would like to look it up. I mean, let's see. Sungazer. Let's see. Sungazer. Oh, they're coming to Denver. Yay. Let's see. Let's see. Sungazer. Threshold. Ah, man. Give me a second. I just want to talk about this because this was crazy. The arpeggios, but it sounded like okay. Oh, okay. Future jazz duo. So it's between a drummer and a bassist. And all the stuff that was going on, all those keyboards. Progressive rock. But it's cool that they call it, future jazz, because it sounded pretty damn futuristic. It sounded like nothing I'd ever heard before. It sounded very out there. And people also search for Pliny, I know. And there was this band, Thank You Scientist, as well. And the people, fans also listened to. This was great, man. This was really out there. Now, obviously, this is very hard to digest. Somebody who listens to, a band like Rush or Kansas or, ELP, that's going to be a lot to take in. But, I'm just so used to this kind of stuff. I'm just by listening to Alan Holdsworth on a daily basis, I pretty much have nothing surprises me, because especially Holdsworth is so out there, and it's music that's so dense and so hard to kind of comprehend. And when you do put it in theory, it's it doesn't even make any sense, but it was very melodic. It did make musical sense, but it was very very out there for the normal ear who listens to normal music or even normal prog. This was just a step further, which for me is awesome. Thank you so much for exposing me to this. I love new music, that song by Queen. For you, maybe it's old news, but for me, this was awesome. So far, this marathon has been freaking amazing. So we're gonna end it with Leprous from The Flame, and I'm sure we're gonna go into a more proggy territory. Just like Leprous sounds like Tool. Sounds like a title by Tool. But let's hear them. Let's go.
From the flame.
good. Very, very good. This, obviously, this sounded more familiar to the usual, heavy metal, progressive heavy metal, or almost like, well, bands in that, category, like Porcupine Tree and, I don't know, like Haken. Haken is like a good example. Symphony X, stuff like that. Um, I really dug the drums. Like I was trying to follow, but it's impossible. And I'm not a drummer. I was just trying to get into the groove. But this was a great marathon. Thank you so much, Marcelo, because all of these bands sound a little bit different. They're all in the prog, spectrum, I guess, but different styles. Queen, we had, a much heavier Queen that I'd ever heard, and I mean, I did mention it sounds a little bit like Rush. Then Avery, I love that 70s, late 70s, early 80s. Also very like I even said, like very theatrical, the whole thing. Very, very cool. Very, very unique. Like I could hear a little bit of Kansas. I could hear a little bit of Queen, very, very cool. And then thank you, scientists, like obviously blew me away with their technicality, amazing musicality. And you can just hear that these guys like know a lot of, very they know a lot of theory, or they're very, very talented, or smoke a lot of weed, because to come up with all this stuff you have to know a lot of music that gives you all these options. And I love the horns in their between the guitar, and it just gave it a different sound from anything that I ever heard before. Then the same with Sungazer. It was just it was proggy, but it was jazzy. And like it said, it sounded futuristic. It just sounded like music that was completely new to me. And that for me is just always very welcome, like I love music that just like makes me kind of like say, okay, what did I just, that's the beauty of that's what I think happened to people in the 70s. The first time they listened to Emerson, Lake and Palmer, they were like, what just happened? What happened? Or Genesis, or, Rush, or, Kansas, or Gentle Giant. The first time they played music like that, King Crimson, they were like, what is going on? Like, this is not normal. And this is what's missing nowadays. And I love that there's new bands doing this kind of stuff. Also Leprous. Leprous sounded more the music that I'm used to, Dream Theater, stuff like that. What are other bands that I listen to that sound like that? Royal Hunt, a little bit of Shadow Gallery, but this was a little bit more dramatic. It just sounded a little bit more like bands. There's this band that I'm thinking of right there. Opeth transformed into a different band. They used to be very, growly, and then kind of like, I think the vocalist had enough of growling, and now they sound like super what I love about a band. Like the way they sound now is what I love about them. But not to put the old Opeth in a, I'm just not used to the whole growling. But I think it's still really awesome, and I think takes a lot of talent to do, and I don't push it aside just because I'm not used to it. I'm totally willing, to learn more about that style of music, like growling, and why it is, death metal and stuff like that. I'm just very curious and very interested in all sorts of styles, because you can always learn something from listening to new music. Thank you so much, Marcelo, for this marathon. It was very, very unique, very good. All these bands like just blew me away. Even Queen, and I thought I heard pretty much, everything there was. I thought I had Queen figured out, but I think I have to revisit them, or start to like just listen to older albums instead of their, you know, greatest hits and stuff like that. But this was great. All let me know, all you guys that watched this marathon. I think Queen was a great idea to pique interest and then to introduce newer bands. More people are doing that. I think it's a great idea to, you know, to because people are like this, and even myself, you know, if I don't know it, then I'm probably not gonna listen to it. There's like this like ocean of bands or ocean of information you can look up on the internet, and it's so much that you're rather comfortable with your old bands. And I think it's a great idea to just try and expand your musical horizons, you know, just like we're doing with the old stuff, with the music from the 60s and 70s and 80s, Alexa and I, because we actually thought we knew enough music and we were so wrong, you know. So thank you so much, Marcelo. I do appreciate this awesome marathon. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. You know, comment below. You know, just express what you felt, what you liked, what you didn't like. Be honest, be civil. You know, it's always nice to create, you know, a good conversation in the comment section. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. If you like the video, you can, you know what to do. And thank you. I'll see you in the next one.